I am so excited to share this training with you. Like I said, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch. So, the whole appeal of this, right, is that this is something that you can do from home without working full-time hours, but making a full-time income. Okay. So I can't help but begin with the end in mind. I am a former teacher. I'll share a little bit more about myself here in a few minutes, but I want to share what you're going to walk away with from this training. So, why Pinterest management is a must for you now, even if you feel apprehensive about your current skills and knowledge. What you're going to do as a Pinterest manager, right? The whole point of this training is to give you the information you need to make a decision from a place of clarity, right? We have to have a certain amount of information before we can make a decision on something. And I want you're here for a reason. You're taking time out of your day to learn more about this. Clearly, you're interested. And so I want to give you the information you need to decide if you want to become a Pinterest manager. We're going to talk about how to find clients and put yourself out there so you can start making money now. And we're also going to talk about what might stop you and how to overcome that. Now, in business, when I first got started, this sounds probably silly, but I didn't realize, you know, how much of the mindset piece is a part of starting and growing your business. I really thought it was more skills based. Like if you have the skills, you can do it. If you don't have the skills, you can't do it. And it's so much more than that. I truly believe in my heart that anybody can learn these skills. They're not these crazy expansive or, you know, just overly complicated. Yes, see, there's steps that you have to follow, but I truly believe if I can learn this, anybody can learn this. And I've had people ask me about like, extensive technology skills and do you need special programs? And you don't. As long as you have a laptop, an internet browser, and you can follow directions, you can learn this. And believe me, when I first started my business, I'm going to share more about this, but I had no background experience. So if this is you right now, you're still in the right place. So that leads me right into the next slide. You're in the right place too. These are some additional things that can kind of help you decide, yes, this is me. You're in the right place if you want to change careers and have more freedom and flexibility. You're in the right place if you want to spend less time working, but you still want a full-time income so you can comfortably support your family. So I know, for example, I've had a lot of educators enroll in my Pinterest Manager Academy, and some of them are like, I don't need to be a millionaire. Gosh, I don't even have to make six figures. If I could just replace my teaching income, for example, and go from working 50 to 55 hours to 15 to 20 hours, that would be life changing, especially because for people who have kids, if you could go down to part-time hours and work in pockets of the day, you could also probably feel free or have the freedom, I should say, to maybe even not utilize any type of childcare. And that my husband and I have talked about how much money it saves us. Just the fact that we don't have to utilize daycare. Our neighbors have two kids. We live in Indianapolis, and the cost of living is nothing compared to big cities like, if you're like in LA or, I mean, multiple different places in California are expensive, New York City, and our neighbors in this, suburb of Indianapolis, they're paying $3,000 a month. Now, of course, there's different, types of daycares and so of course they were wanting to send their kids to like quote one of the best. So it was a little bit more on the more expensive side. But I read an article the other day that, and this was about, it was a local like news station in Indianapolis, and it was saying that the average family is spending in 1 year of daycare what most college tuitions are. That is insane. So, anyways, not to go on a tangent there, but think about too, not even just replacing your income and getting your time back, but if you could not have to utilize daycare, that's huge too. So, you're in the right place if you want a career that really has no ceiling in regards to the growth and potential. I never thought that I'd be sitting here doing this type of training when I first started my business almost 7 years ago. And so that just goes to show you that that's the beauty of business. And also what can be a little intimidating about business is that we don't always know where we're going to be in 5 years, but it's also kind of the best because you can grow and build and evolve. And, speaking as somebody who is a former teacher, there is a very clear, as there are with a lot of professions, a very clear kind of ceiling or cap on that earning potential. You are in the right place if you are serious about taking action and investing in yourself. This is not something that's passive and quick and easy and going to happen overnight. And I know that those are the sexy ways to position work from home jobs. It's fast, it's easy, it's overnight, but that's not the truth. And I'm here to give this to you straight and say that it takes work, but it's worth it. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Our family is getting over a little bit of an illness, so I've got a little bit of a lingering cough. So I'm going to try to not cough very much or take a sip of water. So bear with me. You're not in the right place. This kind of goes off of what I was saying about it being quick and easy. If you're looking to get rich quick, it's not that type of thing. You're not in the right place if you don't see your time as your most valuable commodity. You're not in the right place if you're going to be mad at me spending over an hour of my time teaching you how you can get started on your own or have me be your mentor. So, it's no surprise that I do have the academy, and that is not a course. It is a mentorship and coaching program for those who want somebody who has already done what they want to do, teach them and guide them every step of the way. You're not in the right place if you're looking for instant gratification rather than building a sustainable business that will be an asset for you. I am looking to help people who want consistent, stable income, income that's scalable, and they are not afraid to put work in because they know they are building something that is yours, that is theirs, I should say. Spoiler alert, Rome wasn't built in a day, and your business isn't going to be built in a day either. So I want you to stay until the end because I do have an exclusive invitation for you that I'm not sharing anywhere else, okay? Just because you are here, I want to share this with you. So I want to share some stories from some of my students because when we hear other people's stories, it helps us get inspired. And I think it just helps us understand like this potential could be mine as well. Like this is here for me too, and I can do this too. So, and I like to share these stories because I did this back in 2019. I started my business in 2018, but I niched down or really started to focus just on Pinterest management services in 2019. And at the time, I was pregnant, and I decided that I was gonna kind of like burn the ships, so to put it. And I'm like, I'm done with virtual assisting. I'm done with social media management. I'm just focusing on Pinterest. And yes, I grew and scaled my Pinterest management business, and it was definitely a slow uphill battle because I did not have a mentorship or coaching program like I am offering to people who are interested now. But you know, it was something that, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do it exactly the same. So, all that to say, though, the stories I'm sharing right now, this is not 2019. This is what's happening for my students in 2023, 2024, 2025, right now. So, this is Annie. She is a former teacher, and she shared that she just hit her first 5K month. Now, this was back in December, and she enrolled in the academy in February of 2024. So, from February to December, she hit her first 5K month. And it's so incredible to see this. She enrolled in February, like I said. By June, she had quit her teaching job. And so when you can change careers, that changes people's life. So I want you to think about what is that worth to you to be able to change careers or create a new income stream. This is Robin. She was a former virtual assistant, and after enrolling in the academy, she just started focusing on Pinterest. And by the end of the academy, she was actually hiring subcontractors because she was overbooked. Adriana is a former orthodontist, and I actually have her success story and Robin's actually. They both are on my YouTube channel, and Adriana actually shared during our live call that she'd been experiencing infertility, and her emotional and her physical health was really taking a toll on her, working and being an orthodontist, and she wasn't happy. And when she quit her job, she got pregnant, but she needed income for her family. And so she started a blog, but it wasn't the income that was really going to support her family, which is why she enrolled in the academy. And she had a wild amount of success. This is Tammy. She was a podcast manager and she pivoted to Pinterest. This is Nancy. She was just getting started from scratch, and she had taken another Pinterest course, but not mine, and she didn't even know about me. So after she had been really working to find a client for a better part of a year, She wondered if maybe this wasn't for her. And then she found me, and we did one-on-one coaching and mentorship, which is what my students get in the academy. And within 30 days, she landed her first client, and it was a $697 client. So just from one client, she was making almost $700. So I want you to think about these success stories, and I want this for you too. But before we go any further, you need to have a solid understanding of what Pinterest management is, right? Remember, we're looking at this and deciding, does this feel in alignment? Do I have clarity about what this even is? So, what is a Pinterest manager? You are a small business owner. You're a service-based business. So you're offering an in-demand service that business owners are willing to pay. So they will pay you for your services. So when you're thinking about service-based businesses, there's a lot of different types of services that freelancers could offer. Website design, graphic design, social media management, podcast management, virtual assisting, Pinterest management. They are all types of freelance services. So when you're working as a freelancer, you're an independent contractor. You're not an employee. So that also means that you can and you will have multiple clients, which that just means more stability. You're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. You have multiple clients. And so for me, once I started working with clients, I was never without a client. I never had to start back over at $0. Some months I'd go from like 6 or 7 clients to maybe losing one client, or some months I'd go from 6 or 7 clients to 7 or 8. But the beauty of it is you have control. And if you feel overbooked with your current clients, you don't have to take on more clients. And when you're thinking about, okay, I'm booked out, but I still want to make more money and not work more, in the academy, I also have content about how to continue to scale and how you can continue to grow without working more. So, like I said, you're a freelancer, you're a contractor, you are not an employee. So, you're not working for Pinterest. You're not an employee of Pinterest, but you have your own business and you offer your Pinterest management services. So, when you're working on Pinterest, you're actually marketing. So, you are essentially getting paid by business owners and they're paying you to market their business on their Pinterest account. So you might have Pinterest, which is why you're here. You love Pinterest and you might have thousands of pins and a million boards, but you're not actually going to be logging into your account. So when I work on my client's account, for example, I was actually just working on my client Shannon's before this call. I logged into Shannon's Pinterest account and she is really focusing on marketing. She's an author, so she markets her books and her activities and resources for teaching. So what I do is, and I'll show you in a second, but when you are working on Pinterest, you're creating the pins and you're essentially helping business owners get discovered. So get people from Pinterest to their website. And then that's really how business owners make money. So I'm going to share more about that process of how Pinterest works for businesses because you need to have a solid understanding of that so that once again, you can decide from a place of alignment if this feels right to you. But right now, I want you to put in the chat a 1 if it makes sense, or a 2 if you're still a little confused. And it's okay. There's no right or wrong answers, but I just want to know, does this make sense in terms of what a Pinterest manager is? So you are managing accounts for other business owners and they pay you for your services. 1, 1. Oh, good. I'm seeing lots of ones. Oh, Desiree said, I was a VA for 2.5 years, and towards the end, I wanted to focus on Pinterest management. Oh, that's amazing, Desiree. I took a course and felt very confused still. Oh, I found you on IG and already feel like your course is so much better. Really hoping I can sign up and do this. Oh, I love that, Desiree. Yes, my story is so similar to you, Desiree, where I was a virtual assistant and I really wanted to focus on Pinterest. But like you, I was a little confused by Pinterest. And so, it has definitely been a journey, me getting like a really good handle on Pinterest. And I didn't really know, and I'll share a little bit more about my story in a minute, but I can really relate to that. So, with all of you, I want you to start thinking about what do you want for your future? Now, you're here. I would love for you to put in the chat what you want your life, like if you had a goal that was out of this world, like it almost seems unrealistic. I got asked this. I'm in a business mastermind. I invest in my own business constantly. I've invested in Instagram courses, Facebook courses, Pinterest courses, and I invest in business coaching myself. And I remember when I was talking to my business coach, they were like, "What is a goal that almost feels like crazy?" And I kind of felt like they might judge me because I'm like, I don't really think this is possible. So I want you to think about that. What do you feel like almost seems impossible in terms of income you want to make monthly and hours you want to work weekly? So, for example, let's think about 3 years from now. I think 3 years is a good amount of time because a lot can change in 3 years. A lot can change in 1 year. I was like 8 weeks pregnant this time of year last year, and now I have a 5 month old. So, right, a lot can change in a year. But it's not so far away that we can't like wrap our minds around it. Whereas like 10 years, we're like, that almost is hard to wrap our minds around, right? So, what would be an out of this world income goal in 3 years? So, for example, and I would love for you to put that in the chat while I'm talking. I would love for you to put that in the chat. But I want to give a little example here. When I first started my freelance business, I shared with Desiree that I started as a virtual assistant as well. And so I remember thinking, because freelancing was like such a foreign concept to me, I remember thinking that just replacing my teaching income while working part-time hours was like, that was my dream come true, honestly. Because I'm like, I would still get to be at home with my baby. I would be still making the same income and I could work when it was convenient for me. And that seemed just like out of this world. And so I read something on social media the other day and it was like, what you have now is exactly what you like were praying for, at a different point in time. I'm kind of butchering it, but I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so true. And I'm not just making what I was teaching, but multiple times more. And I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have kind of what felt like going out on a limb and taking that first step. It was scary. I had no business experience. So some of you that are here that have business experience, you're already ahead of the game in some ways. So when I was thinking about 3 years to make $2,000 a month and go from working like 55 hours a week to like 15 to 20, that was like out of this world results for me. And I remember hearing in the freelance course that I took, they talked about like hitting your first 5K month. Like that was a big milestone. And I remember not even listening to that module. And this is such a limiting belief and like a mindset thing. But I was like, I'm not going to listen to that because that's not realistic for me. Like, I'm never going to get there. Isn't that crazy? That is such a bad mindset. It's a very fixed mindset. Whereas a teacher, like I would always, teach that you can't have that fixed mindset. But so anyways, I would love to read these goals though. Let's see here. Desiree, I want to replace my current 9 to 5, which seems impossible. I would be happy to make enough doing Pinterest management to be able to work part-time. I would love to do this in the next year. That's ambitious, but it makes me work harder to make it happen. Yes, I love that, Desiree. And the ambition is amazing. Like, it is important to have big, like lofty goals. It really is. And so even if it seems a little like, oh, that's good. So with these, we're going to call these the four futures. The reason why I show you these boxes, the green and let's do a little pulse check here. Let me know if you can see these boxes in the chat. So I know that I am not talking and you can like, you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So let me know in the chat if you can see these, but you should see green, yellow, orange, and red. We already talked about what the green means. Yellow would be maybe you're making less and working more. Orange would be, maybe you're working like overtime and you're still not hitting what you need to do to provide for your family. In the worst case scenario, this is actually kind of where we all go out of a survival mechanism. We all think about like, what is the worst case scenario? Like, if I do this, then I'm going to be, I'm not going to be able to provide for my family. We're not going to have a home. I can't put food on the table. We all kind of go and spiral into that domino of doubt and think of the worst case scenario. And so, but it's like, but what if the best thing happened, right? So it's like changing that mindset and thinking about, but like, what if I knocked it out of the park instead of always thinking about like the worst case scenario? And it shows you, let's say that we're starting here at this black arrow. Over time, the difference between the best case scenario and the worst, they get further and further. And the difference between where you want to be, like your dream result, and the worst case scenario, the difference between these almost becomes insurmountable. And we get in this hole when we're, in the worst case scenario where we don't even know how to start to climb out. So that's why we don't get there, right? But that's also why we need to start making change now. So I can truly say when I started my business, I felt like my back was against the wall because my school was going to allow me to go back part-time teaching, but I was going to be losing benefits. And once we did the math, because a lot of daycares require you to pay for 5 days, whether you're utilizing all 5 days or not, because you're technically taking a spot, I was going to be paying to work after childcare expenses. And you can't make that make sense. I was going to be losing time with my brand new baby, and I was going to be paying to work. Plus, I had a work commute. I was putting miles on my car, gas that wasn't even, calculated into that. If I did that for 3+ years, that would be the worst case scenario. I would just be losing money and losing time with my daughter. That's crazy. So, when we're put in those situations, we have to make a change. Right now, you might not feel like your back is necessarily against the wall, but it's also important to think about, you're here for a reason. So it all starts with taking that first step so that, next week, next month, the next 6 months, we're getting closer to where we want to be. So these women, that's what they did. They just took that first step. So Emily, she still is an Etsy shop owner. But maybe you feel like your sales, maybe you have another business, but your sales are up and down. That's how Emily felt. And so she started her Pinterest management business and started offering services because she just wanted consistent income. And you should go check out my Instagram stories. I actually posted a screenshot of something she shared in our coaching channel about just landing 2 clients this week. And one of the clients is an $800 package. So this has been huge for her. Whitney was a stay-at-home mom. She was a dental hygienist, but decided to stay home. And she wanted to just create another income stream because life is expensive and it's hard right now to live on one income. So I want you to see yourself in these amazing stories because that could be you. So how would that feel? Whether you're creating an additional income stream, how would it feel to just have like more income that's stable? Like I said, Emily had income, but it was kind of like up and down. So if you could get to that dream result in 3 years or less, how would that feel? I would love for you to put that in the chat. Let's see. Amanda, I would love to work around 20 hours a week and replace my current income so I can have more time with the kids. Oh, I love that, Amanda. Kirsten, and I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm not sure if it's Kirsten or Kirsten. Being a stay-at-home mom currently, and money goes a long way. Long term, maybe leave school counseling. Oh, yes. Amanda, it would feel amazing. I love that. Okay, so what is it costing you right now to not start? So, this is all possible for you thanks to freelancing and Pinterest management. So, let's talk about some of the other options when it comes to changing careers. Trade school, according to tradeschool.net, costs $5,000 to $15,000. A 4-year college can cost anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000, according to advisors. But we live in this amazing time and we can change careers and we can learn new skills. But ultimately, it's about finding something that's aligned to you or an alignment for you, I should say. So you don't have to spend $15,000 or $50,000 to change careers, but we do need to find something that's going to feel right to us, right? So when we're thinking about this wow result and what that would be worth to us, like what would it be worth to you to have a new career and totally change your lifestyle? Some of my Pinterest Manager Academy students, some of them land their first client in 3 weeks. Others, it can take a few months, but it doesn't need to take you years to create a sustainable income from this, which is crazy because, like I said, you know, I remember when I was growing up, like you went to college, or I had classmates who went to trade school, but there was still multiple, a year or more, most likely, that you were going to devote to something. So the fact that I have students creating an income from this in sometimes a matter of weeks is wild. So it's not literally overnight, but when you think about weeks or even months, that's incredible. So Gwendolyn is one where she enrolled in April of 2024. She did not land a client until July of 2024. So that was multiple months. But she was also, she has 3 kids. She's working full-time as an interpreter, and she was also finishing online courses. So when you're thinking about this and the time, If you don't have as much time, you're gonna have to take a little bit of a slower path. However, by July, Gwendolyn got that first client and she went from one to four clients very quickly. I find once my students land that first client, it shifts something in their attitude, and I don't want to say their attitude necessarily, but I think it's the validation. It's like proof of concept. And they're like, oh my gosh. And it's crazy how, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth client comes so much easier. So if you're like me and you're starting with zero experience, you're in the right place. So Gwendolyn, who I was mentioning, she had no prior business experience. Emily did. She had an Etsy shop. So I have lots of different stories of students. There's Courtney, who is like me. She was a preschool teacher, no prior business experience. I want you to put in the chat, do you have any business experience? I had no sales experience, no business, no marketing, big zero. So are you like me? I would love for you to put that in the chat. You can just put, yep, I'm like you, or like, no, I have some experience. I have experience. Yes, that's right, Desiree. Would be dream come true. So a little bit about me while some of you are typing that in the chat. Me and I have a small amount of marketing experience in medical device. That's awesome. So you all are ahead of me already. So, a bit about me. Like I said, I am a former teacher. I taught kindergarten and also second grade. And I taught for 3.5 years before I had my first daughter. And I had fully intended on going back, but I was only going to go back part-time, like I mentioned, and there was consistency in the classroom. But regardless, it was still, even though I knew there was another teacher that was going to be in there for the kids, and it wasn't just like a sub or somebody random, but it was a really hard decision for me. And I post on my social media about like resigning from teaching and this and that, but I also try to be really transparent and not like flippant about the fact that like I loved teaching and I loved my students, and there was a lot of guilt around that decision. But you don't know what a job is going to be like until it is literally your day to day. Like I even student taught, but I student taught in a rural school and I was teaching in an urban environment, and there is challenges. And it's not that I'm not up for a challenge, but once you have a major life event change things, you're just not going to know how you feel. And once I had that baby, like I said, I could not justify paying to work. And so, I decided to look into work from home options, and I knew that doing like an MLM or something like that wasn't for me. I wasn't interested in affiliate marketing. I wasn't interested in becoming an influencer. But when I discovered freelancing to help business owners, that felt good to me. I'm like, okay, I can see myself doing this. And so that's when I started. And I started as a virtual assistant, but I knew that that was more of like a stepping stone because most virtual assistants are charging hourly. And then you're kind of trading time for money. Now, I niched, whatever, however you like to say it. I did niche down to social media management pretty quickly, but I discovered that I didn't like that. And I honestly went the social media path because I felt comfortable. I'm like, I post on Instagram, I post on Facebook. How hard can this be? Which was also that when I say it out loud, I'm like, that sounds so arrogant. There's definitely an art to social media marketing, but it seemed more comfortable. Something about it did seem more comfortable. And once I started doing it, I'm like, I don't like this at all. I didn't want to respond to direct messages. I didn't want to post at specific times. I didn't want to do people's stories. And that's what I was doing. So I knew I had heard that Pinterest management was a thing, but I didn't know where to go to learn that service. And I had actually taken a Pinterest course, but it taught me very, very basic Pinterest marketing. And I really did not feel really confident in offering it as a service. So around that time, though, I had a client who actually asked me to play around with her Pinterest account. And once I actually started doing some of the work, I started to build more confidence. And then continued to invest in myself through other Pinterest courses, memberships. I took a mastermind. Like I said, I have continually invested in myself and my business. And this is a picture of me in New York City for one of my masterminds. And I never thought I would go to New York City by myself to do and meet up with amazing women as a part of a mastermind I'm in. But it just, it's crazy how I got to where I am because I just took that first step. And so Pinterest ended up being such a great fit for me because it truly, not only did I love the platform, but the work was much more compartmentalized. And so like I didn't have to be doing things at specific times of day. And I'm going to share more about what the work entails, but it ended up, especially as a mom now of four, I have four kids at home, it's been a much better fit. So there was this combination of I needed consistent income and I wanted to like the work and I wanted to be able to do it when it was convenient for me. And Pinterest really fit the bill for all three of those. So when I started working on that first client account, this is really what I learned about Pinterest is how it works. It's a search engine. So we don't even really think about it. We are kind of programmed with using specific platforms and we're not always thinking about it from the business side. But when you go to Pinterest, you're searching for ideas, inspiration, maybe tonight's dinner recipe, and the next thing you see are pins, and that's where the visual piece comes in. We look at things and that helps us plan, and we're planning life events and special moments. And through those pins, we decide, am I going to save this for later or am I going to go to this website? And, or maybe I'll just scroll by. But the Pinterest user has been trained to also leave the platform. So, yes, we like to scroll and look at ideas, but when we really want something, we'll leave Pinterest to get more information. Whereas Instagram and TikTok, Facebook, those platforms they've been designed to keep you on the platform. So like if you hear people say like doom scrolling, yeah, you can doom scroll on Pinterest, but especially with the video content and the way that they kind of suck us in on social media, they're trying to keep us on their platform, where Pinterest has trained people to leave the platform. And that is gold for business owners because when they can get you on their website, that's how they're nurturing you, whether it be through reading their blog, checking out their product, trying to get you to sign up for 10% off or their free PDF, whatever that may be. Once they get you in their world, that's how they can serve you and help you. So it's not even just about like immediately making money from you, but they're helping you. And so, like I said, even bloggers, when you go to a food blog and there's all these pesky ads and you're like Xing out of them, food bloggers make money from those paid ads being on their website. Food bloggers are making money just from you going to that blog. So, there's a lot of different ways that business owners can make money from people being taken from Pinterest to their website. So, when you're thinking about Pinterest driving traffic to websites for businesses, getting people to their website, that just helps businesses make more money. So, what you're doing as a Pinterest manager is you're helping the business, and the business in return is helping you by paying you for your services. So, it's kind of creating this healthy small business ecosystem where you're not pushing anything on people that they don't want, but it's like, hey, I'm helping you grow and make more money, and you're helping me grow and make more money. That felt good to me. So, when you're thinking about this and why somebody would pay you, business owners would pay you because of these type of results, making money from Pinterest traffic. Some of my clients have made over $16,000 in 1 month just from their Pinterest traffic. Businesses like Target, Lush, Peloton, bloggers, course creators, online service providers, there are so many different types of businesses that can benefit from Pinterest and not just big name brands. 97% of searches are unbranded. That means the little guys have this amazing opportunity to grow on Pinterest. And because so many different types of businesses can benefit from Pinterest, that means so much opportunity for you. So a very common question I get asked is about saturation. And the thing is there are like 30 plus million just e-commerce business. So, like I just said, there's bloggers, there's course creators, there's online coaches, there's service providers. There's 30 plus million just e-commerce. And think about all these other people that can also benefit from it. Now, think about how many Pinterest managers you know. There are way more people that can benefit from your services than there are service providers. Not to mention, too, that as a service provider, you can only serve so many people. So even if I know 10 Pinterest managers, I teach abundance mindset. There is room at the table for everybody. And it just is up to you to put in the work and know that like this will work for me and I can release any preconceived notions about how long it takes me to get that first client. And that can sometimes be the toughest pill to swallow. When you see people in my community sharing, like, I just got my fifth client and you're still working on getting that first, that can be a little challenging. But it also, I think, is inspiring because you know that they're not some special snowflake. If they can do it, you can too. But it's about perseverance. And I don't say this to sound unkind, but not everybody has that perseverance. So it's about identifying that in yourself and like, gosh dang it, like I'm gonna do this. So I've grown my clients' traffic 50% year over year. I've helped clients receive monthly revenue from Pinterest, not just 5 to 10K a month, but well beyond that. And that's strictly from Pinterest traffic. So think about, them still utilizing social media, how much that's helping their business. So if you can't tell, this is a no-brainer for businesses, and that means there is a ton of opportunity for you, even if you have this zero level of experience like I did. So let's talk about why you and why Pinterest. So when you're thinking about this, there are a lot of work from home opportunities. I am not naive to that. Like I understand there's a lot of people you could learn from, a lot of work from home options out there, but I want you to think about what lights your fire. Do you love Pinterest? Does it sound fun to work on the platform? And you get to be creative, but it's something where I'm going to show you in just a minute. There is an element of creativity, but you're also not like reinventing the wheel either. So Courtney was the preschool teacher. Within her fourth month of working as a Pinterest manager with no experience, she was already making $2,200 a month. That's crazy. Ashley was a stay-at-home mom, and she said, I never imagined that I'd have enough confidence or I would be confident enough to have my own business. This is huge for people. So when you're thinking about these other options that you could look into or things that you've maybe tried in the past, what gives Pinterest the edge over these other things? Pinterest is a platform that's actually underrated. And like I shared, there's actually a lot of opportunity. You get to be creative. You have the ability to batch your work really and not hustle daily. That was huge for me. So I kind of shared this, but when I did social media management, I was having to like post at specific times, like 9 p.m. Eastern time, and then stay on the platform and engage. When I did virtual assisting, because my clients would work during pretty normal business hours, I needed to sometimes be available during specific hours. And that was inconvenient for me. When I started offering Pinterest, there was not a ton of communication and back and forth between me and my clients. It was like I would work sometimes from like literally 4 in the morning until like 7:30 or when my kids would wake up. And then I would send like, whatever I had done over to my client, like my pins. And I would say, hey, do you approve these pins so I can publish them on your account? And they'd be like, yep, good to go. Then I'd publish them. And then I would be able to kind of hit pause on that account for 7 to 10 days because I was able to batch the work. So I wasn't like logging onto their Pinterest every single day or anything like that. Um, and Pinterest, I also love that it's a feel-good platform. There wasn't a lot of negativity or noise. Like I said, there's unlimited potential. And of course, it's very rewarding to help business owners. So the reality when I started was I had no business experience, nor did I understand how or why businesses would use Pinterest to make money. I just knew I loved the platform. And since then, I have created a repeatable system for using Pinterest to drive traffic for my clients and actually convert their traffic into loyal customers. So I share this about helping businesses and how I've created this system because before I taught Pinterest managers, I worked with clients. I actually did the work for several years. And then I even created not a mentorship and coaching program, but I did create a course for business owners. So I share this because I want you to understand who you would be learning from if you enrolled in the academy. I'm not somebody who just had this idea a couple weeks ago and I'm like, I'm gonna train people on this. I've been doing this since 2019. I've had my business since 2018, but I've been just focusing on Pinterest since 2019. And like I shared, I still work on Pinterest accounts. And I think that it's really important that no matter what you do, whether it become a Pinterest manager or something else, that you do your due diligence and know that who you are learning from has already done what you want to do. Whether that's scaling to 10K months, whether that's managing Pinterest accounts, or maybe that's both. But I say that because there are a lot of things online, and it's important to, you know, do, like I said, do your due diligence and know that you feel good about the person you're learning from, right? And I know that that can be sometimes hard to decipher. So just being here, hopefully this is helping you see that this isn't something that I just came up with, but something that's been proven over multiple years of experience. So this is one of my students, Jillian. I'm not going to read her testimonial. This is not a student in my academy. This is somebody whose Pinterest account I actually worked on. She is a course creator, a digital product seller. This is Shannon. She's a blogger, author, and digital product seller. I also managed her Pinterest account and also ran Pinterest ads for her. So these are clients. I wanted to share their perspective as well so that you can see that what I'm teaching my students was already proven through client work and clients who were very happy with their results. So, um, Pinterest, these are some of the things that it's really helped me accomplish and why I feel so passionate about it and why I want to share more with you about my framework, which I'm going to jump into in just 1 minute. So, it's helped me stay at home with my girls and show them that you can set your mind, or that you can do anything you set your mind to. I help other business owners thrive and meet their goals. My business and my clients are connecting with people all over the world. I have students in Canada, Romania, Australia. I have a couple in South Africa. I have somebody in St. Lucia, and that's just crazy to me, but amazing, right? So, I've made more in 1 month from managing client accounts than I made in 7 months of teaching. And I have the freedom to do my job from anywhere. And sometimes that means I'm working in my car while my girls are in dance. I don't say this to sound like braggadocious. I say this because I'm not special. I just worked really hard and I am a go-getter. And this, it can be possible for you too. And so I just show you this because I want to inspire you and say that I really believe in my heart that if I can do it, you can too. So, if you can't tell, I've become obsessed with Pinterest. And right now, you might be thinking, yeah, but I don't think I'll ever be able to develop the skills I need to be successful. And I really want to encourage you to think about this as something that you just have to take that first step. You can't get caught up in the grand plan because you're going to overwhelm yourself, and overwhelm leads to shutdown. So you have to think about, is taking the first step, is it going to get me closer to where I want to be in 1 year, 5 years, or maybe 10 years from now? And if the answer is yes, then you're in the right place, right? So like I said, I couldn't get caught up in like even I couldn't even like think about the 5K months. I'm like, I just got to focus on like replacing my teaching income right now. So sometimes it's just putting one foot in front of the other. And we all have to start somewhere. And I think one thing that really makes the academy different for my students is that it is easy to, feel overwhelmed or to shut down. But when you have a coaching program and you have somebody who is there to support you and validate your feelings if you're feeling frustrated and celebrate your wins when you get that fifth client or you're making your first 5K month, that's huge. So the next roadblock that you might need to overcome is I know this works for me. But how do I, or I know this works for other people, but how do I know it will work for me? That is like the $1 million question. How do I know it will work for me? So it didn't just work for me. It's working for dozens and dozens of women inside my Pinterest Manager Academy. Students like Shireen, I just landed my client off a discovery call that I got from a cold pitch, and she committed to 3 months. Side note, when you're thinking about this, a lot of the work is based off retainer. Remember, we want sustainable, consistent income. So I could keep reading these ones. Emily was one where not Etsy shop Emily, but this Emily she's teaching full time. She finished up this past November in the academy with her coaching, and she had 6 clients. She was getting her master's. She has 3 kids, and she's teaching full time. So when she shared this, she had just booked her second client, but she did send me an email in November when she had finished the academy, and my mind was like blown at how much she was doing. So of course, when you're starting your business, though, she wanted to keep her teaching job. That's the thing, it's up to you. But I also don't want you to burn yourself out. I would love for people to do this so that they can quit their job. So, some teachers, though, especially with like having a pension and different things, I've also had nurses who worked really hard for their education. Gosh, Adriana was an orthodontist. She didn't want to keep working as an orthodontist. So that's the thing. It's like you have to decide what's right for you. So more wins, you can see lots of proven results. So you can see it works if you work it. You have to decide you're going to give 100% to this. My most successful students, and I want you to ask yourself, am I willing to do this? Because this is going to be your answer in regards to will I be successful? And I mean this to be very direct, but with so much kindness too. Are you willing to take action? Are you going to ask questions and take advantage of coaching? Are you going to show up to coaching calls or listen to the replays? Because I do give my students access to all of the coaching call replays. Are you going to reach out to business owners via my hire form? I literally give my students leads. I give them business owners who are looking to hire. So sometimes it just means sending an email. Are you willing to follow the roadmap that's given to you and proven? Are you willing to not make excuses? So I don't remember who said this quote. It's kind of harsh, but it's so true. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So what are you going to fight for? Your limitations or your success? So roadblock number 3. Isn't it just easier to stick with my current career? I think this sounds too uncomfortable. So I want you to ask yourself, do you want another year of almost? You signed up, you are here today, and you're taking time out of your life because you want more. If you're not happy with your current situation, what do you think that's going to look like in 5 years from now? So I totally get feeling like, oh, this sounds uncomfortable. And I get it. I loved my other job too. So you might even like your current job, but major life events can change how you feel. And you have to decide what's more painful, starting something new or staying where you are. Gwendolyn, I know I mentioned her already, but she was one where she's a perfect example of something changing and it changed how she felt. She shared when she did a live call with me. So this wasn't something she shared with me privately. She shared it as common knowledge, like on a live Instagram call. But she shared that she experienced a pay cut at work and she's working as an interpreter and she, you know, really cares about her job and has worked really hard. And I think for her, that pay cut was kind of like a slap in the face. And so I think it was one of those things where it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. And she decided, you know what? I'm going to build something that's mine and that I can have control of and so that I can have more time for my family. So, sometimes things like that happen. And the important thing is, though, is that you need a process. You don't need a pipe dream. You need the step by step, and you need everything step by step like that to be successful. And that is exactly what is put into the academy. So the Pinterest management game is way easier than you think, and this is what you need. So bear with me for 10 more minutes. I said this will be right around an hour. This is my framework that I'm teaching my students inside the academy. So this framework is helping them get to that part-time hours, full-time income. So, and this is the framework I used for myself. And this is what I'm teaching my students. And like I said, it's not just this is something I did, it should work for you. It is proven through my students. And I've had the academy for multiple years now. So, the first piece, we all want freedom and money, right? We want good income, but way more flexibility. So, what is the first thing we have to do in order to get there? So, to start this business and start offering your services, we have to take you from Pinterest user to Pinterest guru. So, I'm going to give you a little example of some of the work I've done, but right now you probably know that you love using Pinterest, or maybe you even have a little bit of Pinterest management or marketing experience. But we want to take you from not just dabbling, but to become an expert because that's how not only are you going to start offering your services when you've had skills training, but as you get experience, then that's also how you're going to increase your income because you're going to increase your prices. So we all have to start somewhere. And when we're thinking about that skills training, inside my academy, assume you have no prior experience. And so if you have some experience, you're like, oh, but like, I already know how to use Canva or I know how to do this or that. If you have some experience, you're just going to be able to move that much faster. And so no prior experience is required. I truly assume you have no background experience. But what I take you through is truly in terms of skills training, everything you need to know so that you can manage and market on Pinterest with confidence. And just because you've gone through lessons and trainings, that doesn't mean you're going to be confident day one. Confidence comes through doing the work. So I also teach my students how to get testimonials and then how to get that first client. Now we're going to get into the next step after that, but I wanted to show you this is my first pin. And one thing I want to mention about the work, your clients will be providing assets for you. So remember when I said that there's a bit of creativity, but you're not reinventing the wheel? Your clients give you their images, their videos, their colors, their fonts. You're not creating their business brand from scratch. They're giving you a lot already. And so that really helps get started. So, for example, this was the first pin I made. This business owner, she created handmade hair bows for little girls. And it really was a home run for me in terms of like feeling like a good fit because I have four girls. And I did not take these pictures. These were things that she provided for me. So I can think of a lot of things I would do differently now on this pin. But like I said, we all had to start somewhere. But through doing this work, I was like, this is fun. I like this. And like I said, I didn't have to do it at specific times of the day or anything like that. So we got to get that skills training under your belt. So step one, in order before you can start making money and get to that freedom and money, you have to have some skills training. Now, the next piece when you're thinking about freedom, I've already touched on this, but there's this automation. So if I had three clients I was working with, like Amanda, Ashley, and Dina, I would work on Amanda's account for maybe 2 to 3 hours on Monday. I'd work on Ashley's for 2 to 3 hours on Tuesday. I'd work on Dina's for 2 to 3 hours on Wednesday. And then once I got their content and everything scheduled, I wouldn't work on their account again for another 7 to 10 days. And so that was huge, that automation piece. And I teach my students how to use Tailwind, not something you have to pay for. Your clients pay for that platform. And that's what you would schedule your pins on. Or I say your pins, it's the pins for your clients. So the next piece, we are going to take you from beginner to expert pricing system. So we all have to start from somewhere. And I don't teach my students to charge premium prices when they're not an expert. So I think when you have transparency and you understand how you're creating your pricing, that it makes you feel better. You're like, this is fair for what I'm doing. And so I teach my students to start as a beginner and how to price those services. And I give them all of the packages they're going to be offering, what are the most common packages to offer, exactly what goes in those packages, and then how to price those services. I also teach my students how to create the contracts, the proposals, truly everything you need to be successful. And so the next piece in terms of putting together this framework is getting the right client load. Because to be very blunt, if you don't have clients and you're not making income, you don't have a business. So, the first piece to getting the right client load and actually working with clients, you have to have something that you can present to the client. So, I don't teach my students to create a website day one. Remember, when we become overwhelmed, we can shut down. And so, we want to validate this business for you and start generating that income as quickly as possible. I really feel like we need those wins early on. And so when you're thinking about this, my academy is 6 to 9 months, depending on which coaching option you choose. And some of my students get clients within like 4 to 6 weeks. So then you might be thinking, well, what about those other months? When you start working with clients, you are still going to have lots of questions. That just comes with the territory because there are nuances and things that there can't be trainings on because it just is so case by case. So that's why it's important to have that coaching channel. But going back to getting clients in that work, though, you can become booked out in those 6 to 9 months and have like Emily, who had six clients and she's teaching full time. That happened in 9 months for her. And she was making like $3,500 a month for her family in addition to her teaching income. So she was booked out. She does not have a website. That was all with the portfolio. Now, I'm not here to tell you you never need a website. That is a business foundation. And there is a guest expert training in my academy about how and when to establish and set up your website. But in the beginning, like I said, I really think we need some of those wins early on. So, the next piece, when you're thinking about getting the right client load, I teach my students multiple strategies for finding clients inside my academy. Some of those strategies include LinkedIn, Facebook groups, using platforms like Upwork or Indeed that connect freelancers to contract, or excuse me, freelancers are contractors, freelancers to business owners who are hiring. The one thing I do want to mention with Upwork and Indeed, I'm not the biggest fan. I do kind of see a common theme where people share, and I never landed clients that way. I landed a lot of my clients through Facebook groups. Some people have an aversion to Facebook groups. So it's kind of about utilizing a strategy or a means for finding clients that, you feels right to you. But back to Upwork and Indeed, some of those platforms, business owners are looking for a lot of work for little pay. So you will want to kind of look through the different options and make sure that you're still getting paid your rates. And so hopefully that makes sense. One thing I wanted to mention with the Facebook groups, I even give like links for the Facebook groups. I had success in, I truly give you as much support as possible. Now, let me cover very quickly the no excuse paid to pitch. I teach my students how to pitch. That means reach out to business owners who don't know them. So you're reaching out to somebody that you would like to work with. They don't know who you are. And you're saying, you're opening this conversation and you are making it personalized. And you're saying, hey, I would like to work with you. And I think I could really help you on Pinterest. Now, you're not saying exactly that, but I give my students a structure and a template and my students are landing clients through pitching. And that's, of course, not the only strategy, but I like to call that the no excuse because you will get a client through pitching if you do it enough. Now, Diana, she got her first client after sending 9 emails. Then I have some students who send 50 emails or more before they get their first client through pitching. It's a numbers game and there is a bit of luck and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes for, business owners. They might have just lost their Pinterest manager or maybe they had been thinking about getting started on Pinterest. Sometimes you catch them at just the right time. And then sometimes they say not right now. And that happened to Annie. She had multiple business owners say not right now last spring, spring of 2024. By fall of 2024, she had like 3 people sign on at once because they were like, "Hey, now I'm ready." So that pitching that paid off. And it's not about like sliding into somebody's DMs, but it's about sending somebody an email and building that relationship and not just being like, hey, hire me, but being like, hey, I think I could really help you, grow your business on Pinterest. And I even teach them how to personalize that through sending them a PDF that actually paints this picture of like, income wise, what Pinterest could do for their bottom line, like how much more money they could make. And it's helping them visualize, like, oh, yes, this could really help grow my business. And so, this was done through trial and error on my part with pitching. I pitched to get clients as well. And so this was something I spent a lot of time on, and I'm just teaching it inside my academy. So, like I said, it absolutely works, but it is a little bit of a numbers game. And then, of course, once you start working with multiple clients, you have to have systems in place. When I first started doing Pinterest management, I was like, there is no way I'm ever going to be able to work with more than one client because this takes me 5 years to do one client. Of course, exaggerating, but I was really slow, but I didn't have systems and I didn't fully know what I was doing. So my clients, had really good relationships with my clients. So it wasn't like about like their Pinterest account not growing. It was just about the fact that like when I say I didn't know what I was doing, like I just had very clunky systems. I'm like, how can I be more efficient at this? And so that's something I teach my students so that you can work with multiple clients and feel like it doesn't take you the better part of a decade to get one account done on a weekly basis, right? So, the next piece here, and we're about to wrap up, so bear with me, is really what makes the difference, all the difference in the world, is having that personalized coaching and support. This is not just another course. I don't call it a course. The Academy is a mentorship and coaching program. And I understand that it's not for everybody, and that's perfect because I'm not just looking for anybody. I'm looking for people who are going to give 100% because I give 100%, but you got to meet me halfway. When people are like, will it work for me? And I'm like, are you going to do the work? Because I can't make you do anything. You have to show up and put in the work. The women that are showing up in my coaching channel, like Annie said, she owed everything to me. I'm like, no, I gave you the tools and the steps. I didn't make you do the work. I'm like, sure, maybe you feel grateful for having the steps, but you need to be praising yourself for, having accountability and putting in the work because not just everybody does that, right? So it sounds simple, but some people can't hold themselves accountable. And I know that like I said, I don't say any of this to sound harsh, but I want to be transparent about that it requires work. And so, there is very step by step for people who are like, I need structure. I want to do this fast. I need to know exactly what I need to get done, when I need to get it done. I do have, it's actually called like my 6-week Pinterest accountability blueprint. The Academy is 6 to 9 months. But if you are like, I want to get that first client as quickly as possible, there is kind of like a 6 week fast action plan. So you can get that timeline for success in getting that first client. And then, of course, there is the community and the weekly accountability. So in my academy, there is a weekly coaching call where we come and we talk on Zoom. My students get support. Sometimes they share their screen. We troubleshoot and talk through whatever they need help with. But then they're also getting um, daily coaching inside Slack. So Slack is a free app. Anybody can get it. You can open it on your desktop, you can get it on your phone. You can ask as many questions as you want in my coaching channel. So sometimes people will even joke and be like, "Hey, it's me again," because they've asked like 5 questions. And I'm like, "Yes, like that's good. That's perfect," because I worry if you don't have questions. You're gonna have questions along the way. And so that's why the coaching, it's gold, you know. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. It has been gold for my business. Like we need feedback and that feedback loop and getting feedback on whether we got our portfolio done or we did our testimonial email or, we're pitching to somebody and we want feedback before we send that email. We need that feedback because that feedback helps us correct things, move on, and then, like I said, it's a faster feedback loop. So, um, as we wrap this up, I want to give you an idea of what this could look like, especially if you were considering investing in the academy and thinking about like if I'm going to spend money on this, like I want to know like what I could be making, how quickly I can make that investment back. A very typical introductory package for a Pinterest manager ranges from $450 to $700. So, if you landed 5 clients at 450, you'd be making $2,250 a month. If you landed 5 clients at $600 a month, you'd be making $3,000 a month. If you landed 5 clients at $1,000, you'd be making $5,000 a month. And some of my students who have hit 5K, some of them are offering anywhere from, they have shared landing clients, anywhere from like $1,100 to $1,300 for some of their clients. So tell me, what is going to make this quick and easy for you? There are 2 things that are not necessary to win the Pinterest management game. You don't need a formal degree in marketing or business, and you don't need prerequisite skills that make you uniquely qualified. So I want to hear, what about you? How passionate are you about changing your current reality? You showed up today because you're ready for more. I'm sure you want results and pretty quickly. And deep down, you know it's time for a change and a transformation in your life. So it's your time, and I have an important question for you. Do you feel hopeful? I would love to have you share that in the chat before I share the next steps. Yes, I'd love that. Oh, Kirsten said I have to get the boys ready for nap, so helpful. Thank you. Is it possible to share the recording since I missed the last bit? Yes. Pamela said I sell on eBay and have an Etsy shop that is not making any money. Let's see. Kirsten, tiny bit family endeavor, not the best option for us to continue healthy relationships, but I really like it. Okay, but I do feel hopeful. Okay. These are all super helpful in terms of also too, I was reading some of your, you sharing your background experience. So remember, nothing I've shared today is theory. It's literally what I've done to change my life, and it's positively impacting other women and moms as well. So you've got 2 options. You can continue on the road you're on right now, or there is the Pinterest Manager Academy. It's education, skills training, coaching, mentoring, and of course, everything I've learned over the years boiled down into one incredible academy. Literally everything you need to be successful given in a step by step. There's templates, resources, trainings, but like I said, it's not like a dump of everything. It's like, no, start here. Do this, then, and they're all video lessons. So you're not reading like pages of PDFs. I'm a very visual person. They're all video lessons. And I'm also very like I try to, say explicitly like you are learning this, now go and do this so that you have tangible results and things that you've gotten done. Because if you don't have that first client yet and you come to the coaching call, or you ask in Slack, like, hey, I'm struggling, I don't have that first client. The first thing I'm going to say is, like, do you have your portfolio done? Did you get testimonial work done? And if you say no, then it's like, okay, let me help you get this done. Where are you getting stuck on your portfolio? So you have somebody there to help you troubleshoot. So it's not like getting a slap on the wrist, but it's saying like, hey, okay, where are we at right now? Let's, look at this. How can I help you keep moving? So, of course, when I shared throughout this training what makes it unique, it is when people are like, how much is your course? I'm like, Oh, yeah, yes, there's modules and lessons, which maybe feels course-ish, but it's education, it's coaching, and it's mentorship. And I feel like it's just so much more than that. And I think that I don't want to say negative connotation because there are so many online courses. Yes, you need skills training before you can offer this service. But I can truly say there is nothing else, and especially in terms of learning Pinterest management, that is like my academy that has the coaching and the mentorship. And I just want to say to help ground like any type of investment, the average range for a business coach is one to $3,000 a month. And my first business coach was $1,000 a month. That is not uncommon to pay $1,000 a month for a business coach. So when you're thinking about this, it's not $1,000 a month right now. The price is going up in April, but I just want to help like ground that too, that like this is much more than just a course because I think that, when you think about that, we're thinking our expectations are a little bit different. So when people mention the price, I also like to say like this is something that's like active. Like I have to continually make updates to the academy. I have guest experts come in and do trainings. Um, am answering questions daily. Last night I was on my computer in the evening creating Loom videos to give people feedback on their portfolio. This takes a lot of my time. It's not like one and done and I just keep selling it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it takes a lot of my time because of the coaching. So I just say that to kind of like ground the expectations. So in terms of the Manager Academy Fast Facts, you don't have to wait a specific amount of time before you get your first client. The more action you take, the faster you're going to get results. I have students get on discovery calls and land clients within 4 weeks. Some it takes more like 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how much time weekly they're devoting to the academy. Most of my students report spending 1 to 3 hours daily working on their Pinterest management business. So when you're thinking about how much time, I would say at least being willing to devote 1 to 3 hours a day. The academy has proven results. However, it's completely you get out of this what you put into it. So, more feedback. So, what I want to share with you now, there's lots of more testimonials. So I keep clicking through these. I'm going to stop sharing my screen really fast. What I want to share with you in terms of next steps. If you are interested in the academy, I would love to chat with you. What I'm going to do here, sorry. I have just 2 more spots left in the academy for the month of March. And I'm doing this encore training because there's a lot of people who couldn't come on Sunday, like I shared. And so I will send out this training, but just know that the price will be going up in April. And kind of like the reason I shared is because the coaching, it takes a lot of me. And, I just want to make sure that I'm fully committing to my students and giving them what they need. And some things structurally are changing with the academy. And like I said, the price will be going up, and I'm just making some changes in my business. So, with that said, there's still 2 spots for March left inside the academy. I do cap the number of students because of the coaching aspect. So, I want to share if you are interested. I'm going to give you 2 options. Um, let's see. I'm so sorry for coughing too. 2 options. You can email me, or actually, you know what? Let's do this. If you would like to book a call with me, I'll share a link so that you can book a call/apply. That will be a application call. And that's also really like you can think of that application call as like a Pinterest manager success call where I want to chat with you to help you decide like, is this the right fit for me? I only want to encourage people to do this who are going to be successful. And I feel confident in that and who are 100% committed. So I wanted to share a link if you want to book a call. My schedule is a little bit tight because we're getting ready to um, go on spring break. But let's see. So I'm going to share a link if you want to book a call with me. The other thing is, too, if you don't see a time on my calendar that works for you, please email me and we can chat about the academy. I just created a Loom video for somebody this morning who was like, and so I might have less than 2 spots depending on if she enrolls, but I just sent somebody a Loom video this morning and I showed her like what the enrollment page for the academy looks like. if you were to become a student, what that looks like to log in. So I just gave her some more like logistical things in terms of the academy. So if you want to email me and you don't see a time on my calendar, we can chat back and forth. I can send you more information about the enrollment process. So let me know. You can either book a call with me or you can email me if you don't see a time or you just want me to send you more information about the enrollment process. So one thing I want to mention is I know I said that there's 6 to 9 months of coaching. When you enroll, it's self-paced. So you can go as fast or as slow as you want. So you're not waiting around on other people. You can dive right in. So I actually had somebody, Jess, enrolled this morning and I sent her a welcome email. So once you enroll, you get access to everything. You get a welcome email and right out of the gate, everything is broken down. I'm like, this is your information. This is how you log in. This is how you access Slack. This is how to get started, and this is where you start. So, hopefully that makes sense in terms of like being very clear and nothing is ambiguous, but you know exactly what you need to do in order to get started and be successful. So, I'm gonna wrap up this call. I can hear my baby fussing downstairs. She's hungry, so I'm gonna feed her. Please do not hesitate to email me whether you have questions, concerns, if you want to book a call but you don't see a time that works, please let me know and I am happy to help you. Thank you so much for being here, Alicia, Amanda, Desiree, Pamela, Tracy. I know a few people had to jump off. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much. And, if you feel like this is something that's going to be a good fit for you, I would love to help you. So I hope to hear from you soon. And if not, I hope that you have a great rest of your day and yeah, hope everybody stays healthy and well. Bye, friends.